Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. Oh, no more I love yous. What is going on, everybody? Doom, doom, doom. Doom, doom, doom. You wrecked me, baby. Yeah, you split me in two. Well, you move me, honey. Yes, you do. Oh, yeah. Anyways, how are we doing, everybody? Are we doing well? I hope we're doing well. I hope you can hear me. Sound check, mic check, brain check, bounced check. No more, guys, they did put a cap on late fees at one point in the recent past, and now late fees are back. They can get you for whatever they want to get you for. You thank Congress for that, whoever allowed that to come back. I want to leave a fish at their doorstep. What is going on, everybody? John, what is going on? Coro, good to see you. Empire of Dirt Aquatics. Cassandra, what's up? And all the critters. Hello. Hello there. Aloha. Aloha. Roy Baker, what's up? J Man Hatch 17, good to see you. Cosman, who else is hiding in here? Johnny Best, good to see you. Smashing. Phoenix Star, hello. Ossie Llewellyn, what? Good to see you. Cameron Carter, we're getting into outdoor fish breeding season, you guys. Yes, we are. It's exciting stuff. I'm happy about it. Are you happy about it? You should be happy about it. It'll be fun. If you've never done tubbing, I've been speaking with Rachel O'Leary, and this, if you're new to fish keeping, in the sense of maybe the last 5 years, you may not know who Rachel O'Leary is, but she really is probably she should probably get credit for popularizing the term nano aquariums or nano fish keeping, nano tanks, that kind of thing. I don't think she made up the term, but she definitely popularized the concept. She was keeping and breeding things like Phoenix rasboras, Scarlet Batis, stuff like Danionellas and teeny tiny tetra species, pseudomigills, all those kind of things, long before it was kind of the norm. And they were in planted tanks and so forth. But she is back, and she is going to be summer tubbing as well. She's in Pennsylvania, and basically, her thoughts are right now is the perfect time to set up your tub. So if you have a bin or a Rubbermaid tote, I mean, even something as small as 20 gallons, you can set up outside on a porch, in your carport, in a garage even, and you can set that up and get it going. Put an air stone in it if you want. You don't need an air stone. If you're trying to do live culture of, whether it's infusoria or daphnia or cyclops or seed shrimp, all those things very frequently come together from the ether when you put water in tubs outdoors, especially if you're in a breezy area with suburbs or rural nearby. So it'd be a good time to get out there, put those tubs out if you're thinking about it. Also can kind of get all the big population spikes that you may want. Of one, you cycle the tank. You can jump it with media inside from your aquarium filters and things, but that will need to kind of mutate, and it will need to become the kind that can survive in cooler temperatures. Now, if you live in Texas, if you live in San Diego or overseas somewhere, Malaysia or something like that, it doesn't matter. You can be keeping fish outdoors pretty much all year. Really, what we're talking about here is how cold does the water get for one? Now, some people insulate their tubs, some people dig a hole in the ground and they put their totes or their pond liners, or they make a pond, and they kind of insulate it and save the water temperature and energy stored that way. Whereas other people will use things like hot tubs, or they'll use something just like a bucket and a spray foam around it and a larger bucket, or build a frame. All these things work. There's lots of videos out there on them. But today I wanted to kind of look at some of the options that are out there, because I feel like this year I'm seeing more options than I've seen any year in the past on fish that are hardy. A lot of them are native to subtropical regions. So while they can handle 80-degree water, while they like 70 to 80-degree water just fine, they also seem to be able to handle 55 to say 70 as just fine as well. And some of them will even breed and breed more in those parameters. So that is kind of what we're going to look at today. And I wanted to touch off on another thing. The other thing I'll mention very briefly is the fact that today, obviously, I look a bit. What is that? Is that from my cat when I was holding her? Yeah, it's a flower petal from the potted plant she was chewing on. But I was gonna say, yes, of course, looking a little disheveled. Didn't put the oh, whoa, is this acting as a green screen? It is. So I have an aquarium co-op shirt. Hold on. And it's acting as a green screen. Let me stop that. That's just silly business. That's silly bully business. Boo. I don't have. Oh, all right, sure. We'll do this. We'll stream right from my my tanks, right in front of my tanks. How about that? How's that look? So I was gonna say though that yeah, it was nice the other day having someone to be live with me and to bounce ideas and thoughts off of. I enjoyed that. So if you guys had fun with that, let me know, and we'll do that more. Definitely in my tanks. What's up, buddy? I think he and I have some plans for the near future, but I'm up for having, just about anyone up here if you have something you want to share. So whether that's, hey, I want to learn about this or that, Alex, and I'd love to talk about it with you live, and we can explore the topic live. And then you do some research, I do some research for a week or whatever, just here and there. And then we kind of do almost like a book report or present it on either a Tuesday or a Friday stream on the channel. Then that would be a lot of fun. But also I hope to have more experts. And speaking of experts, what is going on? Rebecca, so good to see you. We've got freshwater ichthyology from the UK in here. Absolutely fabulous channel. I highly recommend y'all go check out her channel. Just top notch. Anything Laura Caraday. She will tell you all you need to know and a little bit more. She is the person that I defer to. If she ever says anything that contradicts what I've said, follow her lead, of course. She does all sorts of taxonomy and actually looking at traits and looking at preserved specimens, looking at anatomical features, and doing the phylogeny and taxonomy, as well as just more open-ended behavioral and observational stuff, working with in the hobby, catfish and plecos and corridoras and all that kind of stuff. So check out her channel. She has a great video on how the mouth parts of these fish work and how their digestive tract works, and everything from how you should acclimatize them and things you can do to encourage them to absorb more of their food and to nutritionally kind of be catering to their needs more, because a lot of people think they need Oh, they're gonna eat algae on the glass, or they're gonna be eating wood, and they need that. And I need to get birch sawdust or whatever from the foods I'm buying. And you don't, in the sense of wood, you don't. She has a great, very thorough rundown of all the science that seems relevant, essentially, of that. And yeah, it's very good stuff on that channel. So I can't speak highly enough about her stuff. And she is always welcome. I hope you hear that, Rebecca. You're always welcome on the channel if you're interested to come on and chat about anything or talk about new species that they've discovered. There's been a lot of new stuff going on, I know, in the catfish and in the I'd say flat Loricaridae and twig and Farwella kind of space, as well as some of the loaches and things. What's interesting to me is that there's these biotopes all around the world, and these ecosystems, and they all kind of have a bottom eating fish, like a benthic fish that eats either detritus and algae and mulm and bacteria and aufux and like protein films and things like that. Rotting wood, they rasp on that to try to get the protein and the microscopic nutrients out of that, as well as other things like little snails and microcrustaceans. And a lot of times we eat a mistake thinking that they're eating wood, or that they need the wood for something inherently, like wood cats, even we call that, when really it's just where they hide. There's none that actually none that actually have wood in their body that gets somehow incorporated as a nutritional component. Not a single one that they've looked at actually metabolizes the cellulose and the lignin in a meaningful way. So anyways, you guys can check her stuff out if you want to do that. I'm honored that you're here and that you're still awake. Anybody who's coming from overseas, I know Mick is also there. Mick says, I need to take care of some things here. I'll be lurking. Don't forget to hit the like button, everyone. All right. So I do want to say, hey, Stephen P., good to see you. Ross from Baltimore, good to see you as well. So we're going to be giving away a $50 gift certificate to anybody in the U.S. Tonight. It's just kind of a spur of the moment thing that I decided we're going to do. And, while we're talking about what some tubbing options for fish are, I want to look at a friend of the channel, Aquatic Arts. Dan's fish is great. Another great one is the Wet Spot. Another one is Imperial Tropicals. I don't have any deals with those, but I think there are deals out there somewhere. I don't know who has what, but I think Dan Steenfot or Bob Steenfot rather, has a deal with the Wet Spot. And then I believe Imperial, I don't know if they have any deals, but for a while I was talking about maybe coming up with something for them, because I toured their facility and showed their facility from the inside out for I was kind of the first YouTuber to do so in a thorough way, where we got to see the hatching rooms and stuff like that. And so a lot of these places have kind of understood that the tubbing season, the unheated fish, things like that are getting very popular. Also, with the cost of resources going sky high, the cost of heating bills, things like that, especially in Europe, also going sky high. It's interesting and thought provoking to look at the fish that are, especially in my opinion, the ones that are tropical tolerant but really are subtropical. So things like paradise fish, gouramis, kissing fish, stuff like that, Dojo loaches, for instance, where yes, we keep them in the aquarium in the tropics because that's where we set our aquariums and that's easy enough. But really, they are fish that like it more around 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit or so. And so we'll be talking about some of them tonight, looking at what's out and about and what are some that can even take colder than that. Things like Medaka rice fish that can take getting frozen. You can already right now, anywhere in the US, you could be putting out your Medaka rice fish. And as long as they're covered and not going to get eaten by birds or raccoons or anything like that, which at my house they sure do. But as long as you were taking care of that issue, putting down either like some sort of mesh net or having a roof over the enclosure or a greenhouse, something like that, uh, you can definitely start that. Also, growing out fry, that's another thing that a lot of people like to start doing earlier in the season, whether that's Mother's Day is a lot of times the unofficial kickoff to tubbing season. If not then Father's Day for sure. And that's like Seattle, where it's a little colder, maybe Michigan, places like that where yeah. Yes, and Medaka can be silly expensive. They can be. They can also be like $1 a piece. It really depends on the line. There are some Medaka that are up in the $3 to $500 a fish price range, and that's like money you can easily get. There were pairs of the pink Medaka longfin that were going in Japan for $1,200 a fish just for the males. That's not even for a pair. And that was not even a year ago when that was going on. And the government tracked down 50 that were sold. And it turned out that the Yakuza was involved, that they had stolen some bioluminescent rice fish from captivity. Pretty wild. So the other thing I wanted to address here too that I just saw, I didn't miss it or anything. Johnny Best, friend of the channel, always gifted 5 memberships for y'all out there who are here. I hope you got it. Whether I don't know who all got the memberships, but I'm sure you deserve it. The algorithm gods will figure it out, and they kind of divvy up who gets it by who's in the chat the most and who interacts with comments the most. And if you've also got it turned on your computer to say, I want to receive gifts or whatever. And I think you have to do that on your actual desktop for each channel. That may be different now, but that was the way it worked for a while. So yeah. Aloha says, Alex, let's see here. Alex, do you think the mass power outage that hit Europe will encourage more people to look into low-tech aquariums? No, I don't think it's that. I think that the very real expense of both fresh water and like drinking water is way more than it is in America. Also, in the US, in Canada, and in Mexico. Also, the cost of heating your water, heating your fish room, running heaters in each tank and stuff, it's just not doable for people with 40 or 50 tanks. In most of Europe, where I talk to people, they say, no, I can heat the room and that's it. And like, even then it's, sometimes like €1,000 a month, or that might be like a 2-month billing period, but whatever, it's expensive. And, here we're looking at more like $200 or $300. I don't know about you guys for electricity on a heavy use month. But it really is as expensive. It is getting very, very expensive over there. A lot of other places too are getting very they're relying more and more on doing less water changes and not having as hot of systems because it's easier to breed fish, things like tilapia, food fish, trout, catfish, bluegills, those kind of fish, perch. It's sometimes you don't need any of the heating stuff to get those to do their aquaculture thing. And a lot of places, the hobby kind of gets mixed with like aquaculture for food, for sustenance. But I see, we see members on our channel here. I've been written to from Poland, from Lithuania, from Romania, from Slovakia. People are telling me like it's getting expensive, especially all the war and the will they won't they, when a pipeline goes down or when one is on, one's off, gasoline, petrol, natural gas, all those things have been fluctuating quite a bit for Europe, and they may for the rest of the world as well too. But for now, that seems to be where they're feeling it quite a bit, and it brings up just this notion too of like what's sustainable. So beyond tubbing season, beyond going outside and that being a free place to get insects, a free place to get cooler temperatures at night and warmer temperatures in the day, to get UV rays and to kind of tan your fish and make them look their very, very best. It's also a place that you don't have to pay for all of that. So I mean, yeah, in one way or another, you might have to pay for the land, but so it's interesting to see how a necessity, of course, will drive a lot more innovation. But even beyond that, it's just, I think, caused people to wake up and think, do I really want discus that need to be at 85 all the time? Here for me, unfortunately, I have a power grid that is awful. I mean, we have had over 8 to 10 power outages a year since I've lived here at this house north of Seattle. And they're usually only 24 hours, and that's not that big of a deal. But now twice I've had power outages happen, once in winter, once in summer, where everything went down, and then when it came back up, all the heaters turned on, and it was already like a 90-degree day. The fish room's already too hot, and I had been trying to cool it, but then the power went out, and I don't have AC anyways, as central air. No one does in Seattle really these days. So there are these kind of interesting shifts occurring as well in places that historically did not have, for instance, air conditioning, or they did not have a need for heat as much. Most houses still have a heater, but like Florida and places like this, they're getting freezing weather when it's unexpected. So the power going out, the changes, the shifts in the temperatures and things, it's just causing us to rethink like what all the hobby should be focusing on for keeping, I think. Thanks, guys. Mike 1993, good to see you, buddy. Was that Eula or Yulia? Where did I miss that? Oh, Uyo. Never mind. It was that name. Hello. And if you guys have a question, at Fishtree is the best for me to find it. Now, I wanted to mention, so we're doing a $50 gift card to Aquatic Arts giveaway, and we'll do that if there's 150, heck, even if there's 125 folks that show up in this live stream, we'll do the drawing then. But if not, we're going to do it just some other time. But if you want to share out this stream at all, or if there's anybody that you think, oh, they're in the US and I'd like them to get a chance at winning this $50 credit, let me know. And then I'm going to show you some of the cool fish they've got there right now. I've been talking with them, and I wouldn't say it's like me curating it, but I've been chatting with the manager and discussing like what some of the cool fish they could bring in are for tubbing season and for this exact kind of thing that I'm talking about today. Let's see here. Andy Carson says, I'm considering using empty tanks for tubbing. Have you ever used rain running off the roof for water changes? I bought egg crate for the top to prevent stuff from washing out. Yeah, you can totally do that. It's viable. It's going to be pretty soft water, so you're probably going to want to at least harden it a little bit so it has some stability, unless you're really trying to make it black water. But if you're doing it outdoors and you don't live in the tropics, you may not want it to be fully black water unless you're doing bugs or organisms, some sort of live culture in there, because the black water, the low pH, the strong acidity, it has a different cycle for your ammonia, your nitrates, nitrites, but it also tends to be a rainforest type thing, a flooded forest type thing. And so the fact that you'd be doing that, it happens a little less in temperate forests and things. And I think I don't know exactly what the reason for that is. I mean, it floods here in Washington and salmon and things go across the street and there's leaves all over. But it might just be something about how poor the nutrition in the substrate and in the soil of rainforests, especially South America and any tropical rainforest really. They are generally just barely able to support plant life with the phosphates that fall from the sky as dust in the form of rain, actually. All right, let's see here. Um, Freshwater ichthyology says rainwater is common here, but just make sure you don't treat the roof. Yeah, don't be putting the laundry detergent on the roof to kill moss or any of those kind of things or lichen. Be careful. Hey Alex, what's your opinion on more expensive fish goods versus cheaper? Is it worth it? So Wait, why can't I click on that? There we go. I would say some are worth it. More expensive fish food's oftentimes worth it. The ingredients at the end of the day are going to say whether it's worth it or not. I happen to like food wise and stuff. I think like Hikari does a pretty good job for stuff that's middle of the road. It's a little more expensive than a lot of the stuff you get, but it is also it's got decent nutrition profile. Brine Shrimp Direct is another one you can order from that's pretty good. Extreme, Rapashi, stuff like that. I do think is worth it if you're breeding fish for a project or if you're trying to breed them for quality and you really want to see the best in them. But when it comes to other things, like if you just have a community tank and you just have friends and family coming over, you're not breeding the fish, you're just keeping them in a planted tank and you just want it to feel energetically lively and stuff. I don't think it's all that necessary. Also, some things I think are better for fish than others as far as like developmentally. There can be issues when there's heavy metals or lead or cadmium or mercury, things like that in the waterways, and that's not good for humans to eat when they eat the fish. But also, I do want to caution you and say that yeah, that could be happening, but what does that mean for your fish? Like, does it mean that they mentally need the slow fish classes, and so they're not going to be going to a 4-year college? Like, I don't know how severe some of the impacts are. Yet they have shown, and there was just an article about it to yesterday about how salmon right now are they're not completing their migrational travels because they're getting to the first set of locks when they're going up rivers and canals a lot of times, and their motivation's just gone. Their drive is just gone because there's such high antidepressants in the water, which was pretty astounding to me. I mean, they must be very sensitive to these SSRI type chemicals and benzodiazepine type chemicals and stuff. Um, but yeah, it appears they are. Um, all right. Did somebody say Aquatic Arts? Use discount code Fishery15 for Aquatic Arts. That's right. All right, let's see here. Richard Simpson, what would you consider fancy goldfish as a type of fish to go into cooler tanks? Now, that totally depends. So let's pull up right now. Why not? Let's pull up some of the stuff we could be looking at here, and we'll do a drawing sooner or later here for a $50 gift certificate to Aquatic Arts. Shout out to them. They're somebody I've worked with for a long time, and it seems like they've gotten back on track with the stability of the goods, the services, the customer service. Sorry guys, my as you can always see, I mean, it's no surprise to you guys at this point when you can see all my rashes and blisters and how uncomfortable I get when my skin. It's my connective tissue and my skin, and I get hives all over my body, but then I also get like lesions on organs and things, and that's part of the autoimmune, the psoriatic stuff. If you've heard of psoriatic arthritis, it's similar, something like that going on with the lupus side of things. Anyways, but yeah, what's interesting about the goldfish is some have been bred now for 100 years to be hardy and to uh, be able to live in a glass bowl, which is terrible, right? With their own poo all over and the nitrates and even ammonia and stuff present, which is awful, but that's the truth. Like they were bred to survive in that because people didn't know better for a long time. And some of them still retain some of these hardy genes. So a lot of the fish, like comet goldfish, have that ability still to be really rough and tumble and survive things like freezing and surviving under the ice. You know, so there's a host of things that I would say. You could say, like, yes, fancy goldfish are able to survive more than, say, a tetra, but fancy goldfish tend to also be kept in like 78-degree water exactly and bred in those parameters to make it just stable, easy, and so that they can be treated like tropical fish and live in tropical fish water. And with the exception of living a little bit accelerated of a life in those temperature waters, they still live quite a few years and can be pretty big, chunky, healthy, happy fish. Hello, kitty. We have a kitty chewing on wires again. Hi, honey. Hi. Oh, I'm so mean to you. Daddy's so mean to you. You were in the filter video. So yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna pull that up and we'll look at some of the fancy goldfish and stuff. But yes, some fancy goldfish have been bred to only survive in tropical type waters. Others are more related to things like the the older branches of goldfish, like the comet is the really common one that you think of as like feeder goldfish or imperfect goldfish, stuff like that. That they can withstand like freezing water. So it is a range, and it really depends on what they say about the tolerances or the ranges that they can withstand. And sometimes you got to take that all with a grain of salt. It drinks out of the tank, and that's how you know the water is good. That's true. Not a moose. I agree. She wouldn't drink out of the tank if the water wasn't delicious. She probably would. She licks her butt. All right, let's see here. Share screen. Do 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 do. Okay, share. All right, so you guys don't need to see me. We can just hide me. Hi. Can you guys hear me? Can we hear? What? So, yeah, that dog or dog, the cat, she's something else. She talks a lot. No audio dojo. Oh, I know that. So the audio dojo. What? That is really interesting. Why was that? Okay, let's see what happens. What happens when I put it on split screen? Do 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 do. Tonight is the night. You run like the wind. You gotta be free again. It's good now? All right, it's good now. Okay. So I was gonna say though that I have been getting a couple comments, and oh, do I want to call it out and bring attention to it? Not really. But I do want to mention something that I won't say who, but a certain creator has kind of been going out and investigating various channels and trying to kind of find any sort of scandal or drama, any sort of impropriety or fishiness going on in the fish hobby. And while I applaud that to a certain degree and everything, they also are using a lot of AI. And I've seen several channels like this now where they get a lot of information very correct. They're able to do things like program an entire video to be made with a lovely woman's voice, a script that's written by Chat GPT, and even like they can upload, say they'll take 3 or 4 of my videos, 3 or 4 of Philip's Fishworks, 3 or 4 of I don't know, KG Tropicals and Aquarium Co-ops, and they'll say, read all these, or basically make a script of all these, and then let me index and search them. They're doing a lot of like really high tech stuff in some of these channels, but then they're saying like, all right, so summarize from these texts the method being used by each, and then compare and contrast, and then they'll literally have a AI assign even like video clips and things for the video. But I keep getting grouped on a couple channels as somebody who apparently likes the whole no filter thing and deep substrate. And I just wanted to make clear as we go into this, talking about all of this, what I wanted to mention is that I don't hold any skin in the game for thinking there's one right way or wrong way to keep fish. And sorry guys, my wife is very sick still. She's got bronchitis in the other room. So again, small house, we can't really do anything about it. She's, separated by a wall and everything, and it's still rough. The guy Alex is talking about. Yeah. So anyways, and I think a lot of you know who it is. I even was paying to be a member of the channel for a little while just to see what happened. And I applauded a certain level of it, but then it started getting obsessive, like, 4 or 5 videos a week about the same thing, edited different ways. And it became really clear that it wasn't about the integrity of uncovering something or other. It was an ego thing about being the next CoffeeZilla of FishTube. And there's room for a CoffeeZilla or investigator on FishTube for sure. There's been some crazy things over the years that have gone down with creators on FishTube, let me tell you. But what I was going to say is, at first I thought the meaning was well, and that it was to really get some self-reflection in the hobby. Father Fish is somebody that I used to vouch for quite a bit more. as check him out. Maybe you'll like that style of fish keeping, especially if you want to do less maintenance and you don't have a heavy fish load and you're not super into plants or aquascapes, stuff like that. You're still running a filter is what I recommended. And this was before he did all the resurrection jars and things like that. And I've made videos all throughout time while we've been streaming, where I've put in my 2 cents about, like, I think getting live cultures from nature is great, but these are the risks. If you're going to do it and experiment with it, here's the ways to mitigate those risks, and here's the realities of said method. So for me, the other thing that was a red flag and that I just wanted to kind of warn members here about is anytime anybody, whether it's politics, it's right, left, whether it's two sides of a faction, whether it's like a group like on H3 versus Content Cop and iDubbbz, if you guys are into that, like drama going on right now online, or Adam 22 versus academics, or whatever, in the hip hop world. There's these feuds, these things in social media that happen. But anybody who starts doing a lot of the AI to just churn out that I don't so much mind. I mean, yes, the thumbnails can get old, but yeah, they work sometimes, so I get why people do it. But then more so, the thing is, if you let that do your research, you can have amazing quality research and info on a certain thing, but you just undermine all your credibility when there's an expertise or a niche of the hobby, for instance, that you may not know about. So for instance, he had said, the same person had said that, like, there's no point to having a deep substrate and that it just gets rotten and nasty and it's a ticking time bomb. That is one way to kind of look at it, but plants, then he says, underwater are completely different than terrestrial plants. No, they're the same plants oftentimes. There are some true aquatic plants, but they're very rare. Out of 40,000 plants in the world or whatever, we're probably looking at less than 1,000 that are true aquatic plants. And then the rest are immersed or marsh or terrestrial. Emergent, immersed, those aren't even technically real words that that AI knows. And the thing is, AI is a large language or learning model. So the even more preposterous part about it is it's going to take the content that exists that's wrong, and it's going to conglomerate all of the thoughts in one field, whether that is nature tanks, deep substrate tanks, sand, biocenosis beds, whatever it may be. It's going to take the popular media. It's going to take the average, and it's going to use that as gospel, because there is no one authoritative source out that says this is how plants grow underwater, for instance. Tom Barr is the PhD holding authority in America that probably holds the most information on aquatic plants, maybe in the world, but definitely in the US. Crystal Castleman's another pretty good one. Karen Randall, another one. And it's not going through textbooks and things like that. It doesn't have access to those. It's going through blogs. It's going through debates online that go on in the comments. And so the info that it gleans and thinks is gospel is very questionable sometimes. So I would just say, I would just say be skeptical, and don't dismiss it necessarily. It could be totally correct, but be aware that if it's not somebody who's an expert, like me, I'm not an expert, but be aware that those people, that they're not doing, that citizen scientists are not true experts. They can become true experts, but doing an experiment at home and thinking that you know something is a lot different than actually holding a PhD and doing it for 30 years, you know. So go find the people who have the real knowledge for 30 years and check in with them. And when you see what their vibe is, then you can kind of put it against the other stuff. But it's hard to track that stuff down. So it's a lot of work nobody wants to do. Now, granted, just by talking about this, I've probably shed more light and attention on it than I ever should have. And there are some ad hominem attacks that have gone on there, like, oh, his tanks are always like the glass is always dirty, so he's lazy, so therefore he never does water changes. I have a group of tanks where I don't do water changes, but I don't believe in not doing water changes. I do water changes twice a week in some of my tanks. I have canister filters in some of my tanks. I have 2 tanks that have CO2 on them. I also have some tanks that I just do water top offs and I have done no water changes on for years at a time. So don't shed light on the darkness. I won't. Thank you in my tanks. Yes, you guys. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of mention that as we were going on and about this, because I think people are going to run into this more and more. And it's not just the one occasion that I'm talking about right now that I've been seeing in my world, because you kind of get into this feed and then you see more of what is related. But what I was saying is that there's going to be a lot of these channels, and there are already, especially in the shorts world, that are an AI voice. And that also, I'm like, I get why some people use AI because they don't like their own voice. They want some anonymity, whatever it may be. But I'm always like, what's the agenda? Is it just to crank out a lot of stuff? Is it to delegate the work? Which, I mean, that makes sense. But, or is it to hide behind something and to be clickbaity and make 5 different channels that are all kind of similar, but all targeted slightly different? That's something that we need to be on the lookout for as a community. Basically, just where we get our info and the way we can avoid all that, the way we can get good info. And, you know, today's topic is a perfect example of a topic where people will tell you that fish can't be in cold water. And other people will tell you, I've put it in a tub for 8 summers in a row and it can stay out until October every year. Like Rhamnocentris ornatus. There's a fish that, you know, they can be outside all the way down into like 48 degrees, according to some folks. But there's different collection points. There's also some that have had lineages in the hobby for 20 or 30 years now, and they're going to have acclimated to the aquarium. The individuals that did best in those jarringly cold spells in the mountains of Australia, they may have been wiped out of the gene pool because the focus has been on making more beautiful fish or more red in the tail, or, you know, whatever it may be. But when you talk to somebody and they actively are a tubbing enthusiast, someone like Rachel O'Leary, who I mentioned, you know, for years she's done the nanofish thing, and the summer tubbing thing has been a big passion of hers. She kind of went away from YouTube for years with health issues and other stuff. She stepped away, but she's back, and I'm really excited because she's somebody that I always was able to really trust with her info. She was plugged into other experts, and when she doesn't know, her and we talk a lot, and literally she'll be like, I don't know, but I bet you Chance Kramer or Tom Barr or, you know, whoever. And when I start hearing the same names over and over, like, you try talking to Chance, try talking to Tom, try talking to Winston about plants and stuff, then I'm like, okay, those are okay. I got the right people in my sights. But yeah, so I'm really excited. Hopefully we will have Rachel on the channel sooner or later as well. Anyhow, Alex, what's your take on raising live brine shrimp versus decapsulated brine shrimp? Decapsulated brine shrimp, thank you so much for the super chat, Johnny. I do appreciate it. I would say the decapsulated brine shrimp, they're cool. They're kind of expensive. But they're cool that you can feed decapsulated brine shrimp or freshly hatched, whether alive or not. You can feed them to your fish, and they won't get the gut filled with the exoskeleton / shell of that cyst stage of the brine shrimp. And so you can get them, but I think it's like sometimes it's as much as like $15-16 an ounce retail. I think I've seen it on the cheap end, maybe $8 or $9 an ounce. And it's kind of like a caviar in a little container that you can take with you and put a scoop in, or an eyedropper of a little bit of it at a time. And I think that it's just pure packed with protein. It's the best you're going to get, but it's just really expensive. Whereas hatching the brine shrimp, letting the eggshells fall, collecting them within the first 12 hours, so important, because in the first 12 hours, they haven't even grown mouths yet. And they actually have a yolk, just like a baby fish. That yolk is full of omega-3s, omega-6s, the fatty acids, the proteins, the nutrients, the vitamins that your baby fish, that your fish period, are absolutely in love with. And by weight, there's a lot less water weight and a lot less exoskeleton that has grown when they first hatch from their shell. So if you're feeding day-old brine shrimp early in the day, or if you schedule them to hatch, so that the peak hatch rate is about 8 hours. You collect them 8 hours or so after the first few start hatching, and hopefully the last of them are hatching as you're collecting it. That's absolutely ideal, and you'll probably find a sweet spot where you can gather a whole lot more bang for your buck if you do that. Now, if you don't collect them in the first day, sure, you can still feed them to your fish, but they suddenly lose a ton of their nutrients, and they're kind of empty sacks that may have a little bit of algae or a little bit of detritus in them. But 32 hours in, they grow an esophagus, and an internal digestive tract basically connects. So 32 to 36 hours after brine shrimp hatch is when you can start doing things like loading them with calcium, magnesium, the omega-3s, and spirulina, stuff like that. And if you're going to do that, then it makes more sense to do that for several days and to grow your brine shrimp out to, I don't know, I'm showing them like they're that big, but they're, almost just half a grain of rice in length or something. That's your sweet spot for growing those. That's what I would say. The decapsulated cysts also hatch a lot quicker too, for sure. Now, the other thing is, when they're capsulated or just normal brine shrimp, you can use chlorinated water, and it will actually just help to soften the process. And you can actually put them in one of those round discs called the brine shrimp hatchery by, what's the brand called? I'm forgetting it now, but I got a couple of them years and years ago, like 8 or 9 years ago. I am not, Mr. What's in the Cooler, I am not attending the Findig this year. I wish I were. Hold on, let me see if I can turn down the background. Hold on, guys, sorry. So yeah, I wish I were. Looks like it's going to be a great lineup for sure. Also, Fishery Lowell says, can Silowi shrimp be kept in a Neocaradina? No. So Silowi shrimp, they live, other than the fish that are on the freshwater streams of the island, Lake Poso and Lake Matao, those are, and there's 3 or 4 other lakes too that you might get critters from. There on Sulawesi, that island has limestone as a predominant. There's basalt, there's limestone mostly, and the limestone parts of the island have very, very hard water with a high pH. And so those lakes where you find 64 species shrimp, of Caradina shrimp, like the cardinal Caradina, like the snowflake, like the blue diamond, all those beautiful ones, plus like rabbit, snail, stuff like that. It's like 8.6 to 9.2 pH in those lakes, and that's in like a pretty swampy part of the lake sometimes. But there are Malawa shrimp, which are Caradina perdentata, and they are living in the creeks around the island, and not in that lake basin that's very ancient there, that has the hard water. And those shrimp actually can live in very wide ranges of different ecology, including, also there's a couple that a lot of times get called Pinocchio shrimp. Those can occur too, and live in a wide variety and wide range of ecosystems, from like 6.5 to maybe 8.2 or something. But at the end of the day, it's usually going to be your KH and GH that limit your shrimp. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if your Neocaradina shrimp some of them, probably not all of them, but some of them may survive if you tailored your aquarium to be a Pozo or Mateo or Matao, however you say that lake. If you modeled it to be an ecosystem like Silowi has, with the celebes and the half beaks and rasboras, and kind of like clear creek water on a limestone bedrock, and then flooded forests around that, you can have pretty interesting stuff going on. And you could probably have shrimp that now due to domestication and due to the hobby being so widespread, people in Florida, people in Vietnam, people in China, people in Germany, wherever, keep Neocaradina, and tap water is seemingly okay in more and more places. When I was into shrimp, say 12 years ago, they would still die. Like the cherry shrimp were the only hardy ones really still, but like the blue ones, they would die. The green ones weren't out yet. There was this, like, only a few shrimp, like the orange ones and the red ones, and maybe some carbon release, and some stuff like that would survive. The rest would not, and it would be down to temperature. It'd be down to KH more than anything. But now they're getting very, very, very tough. Yeah. Wicked freaking aquatics people. So you're saying get the aquarium co-op cans, and they do well hatchery wise. Yeah, I've heard mixed things. I've heard somewhere around 90% as like the good end. I've also heard as low as 50 from some people. I have no idea what the difference is, like what's causing that, and if there were different batches that had different outcomes because of transit or something that happened. But I do know that brine shrimp direct is where I've always bought mine, because in my mind, that's where like aquariums, that's where the big food for farms, the co-op for Florida farms. The golden pearls is a food that those places always use, and the brine shrimp direct, which the public can use. They're cold pressed krill flakes, their brine shrimp, their Daphnia, their tubifex, stuff like that, that are cold pressed. Those are the most impressive foods I've seen. Best bang for your buck. And they're like the aquariums raising fish for exhibits and things, as well as the farms raising things for ornamental fish. It's oftentimes what they're using. So I tend to go that way. But yeah. Let's see here. So let's pull it back up. Let's get back on track, and talk about, let's talk about this. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys understand what my life? Do. Does anybody know what's going on? Can anybody hear me sing this song? A dooby dooby doo, a dooby dooby doo, a dooby dooby doo 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 boo boo, a dooby dooby doo, a dooby dooby doo. Muted. Okay. All right. Still muted, huh? All right. Oh wait, could you hear me singing or not? Now I'm confused. Oh boy. All right. Let's see here. I know the picture's muted, but I don't want to be muted. We'll do it like this. Screw it, we'll do it live. We hear you, weirdo. Okay, well then who's saying we can't hear you? Why are people saying muted? Mike, you're off the island. All right. So going back to Aquatic Arts, we're gonna give away $50 to them today. Someone in the U.S. And if you're outside the U.S., oh, you suck. You know, you're just so uncool. Get out of our live stream, bro. So again, golden loach, that's just a dojo loach. But these things can survive in cold water, in freezing water. Canada is correct. They should be an invasive species. Do not let these guys go. Do not let them go in the sewer. Do not flush them down the toilet. But they will survive in tubs outside anywhere in the US, short of like Minnesota or maybe like North Dakota. They'll survive well into frozen top water for several days, even weeks. So yeah. All right. All right, let's see here. Mike's a troll. Redneck Aquatics, what's up, man? And Nancy B, good to see you. And Anna Banana, what's up? So let's take a look at some of the options here because they really stocked up this year, and I'm proud. I'm like, my little heart is proud. So if you see something that says like Burmese or Thai border and then a species name like loach or hillstream loach or catfish or, you know, squeaker cat, whatever it may be, if it says border, there's a good chance it lives high in India or Myanmar or wherever it may be, and that it's able to survive in cooler temps. Now, this one is an incredible nano tank critter. I love these. So cool. But Taiwan is another place like that. If you see fish labeled from Taiwan, you almost certainly know that they can withstand subtropical temperatures. And here we go. 18 Celsius to 24 Celsius, meaning 64. They're totally happy at 64 degrees. Honestly, you could probably push that to 60 degrees. 60 to 75 is their ideal. And that's because Taiwan, especially up in the hills, it gets very cool at night there. And here we've got, what does this say? I'm curious to see what they're trying to say about dojo loaches. 50 degrees. So they say 50 degrees. I'm telling you, they can live under ice. I have had mine live under ice. So dojo loaches, another one that like you could put those out now anywhere in the US. They're going to survive. Now the albino ones, they're a little more sensitive and they also can't see as well, but luckily they've got barbels up the yin yang and that's kind of how they see. Now, also, they've got these cool koi fish at Aquatic Arts that they've been bringing in. And some of these, like, these are called panda butterfly koi here. I've also seen these called skeleton when they've got the fishbone pattern. But these are the longer fin version. But again, koi, let's see what they're saying here. Some koi are like goldfish, where they can't live as cold as you'd expect, like freezing. But 50 degrees is a really safe guess, or 10 Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, is a safe guess for that your koi and or goldfish can live in that unless otherwise told to you. Now, this is an interesting one in that this is said to be a koi, and it's listed as Cyprinus carpio. And it would be carpio if it were a goldfish. but it sure looks like a goldfish to me. And if we look at the care, also 50 degrees to 77 degrees. So one thing to notice though is that these guys need oxygen, and they can't have super hot water. Your koi and your short-bodied ones especially. Now another interesting one is going to be your lamias. These are like little live bears from the Bahamas, from Cuba, from different islands. And I'm curious to see. I don't think it's that cool, but 72 is what they say. I have personally kept several lamia species in the high 60s and not had problems. They are more prone to ick and stress in those temperatures, though. I will say that. The doctor fish or the gara fish, this one I'm not 100% sure, but I wanted to check it with you guys real quick because I think, yes, can live down to 57. So just like rainbow or panda garas, any of the rufagara, all these fish that are known from China, they can withstand temperatures down into the 50s. And that's when the water's in the 50s. So if it's 75 in the day where you're at and gets down to 40 at night, you may still have water that stays 52 degrees at the coldest, So check what your actual water temperature is rather than, what you're getting. What it takes in the ambient temperature, if that makes sense. Also, yes, raccoons are a major problem, as Tiffany mentioned. And yes, the Asya is talking about the Chinese high fin banded shark. Those get large, but they're very, very cool. Last year, also Stephen, or not last year, 2 years ago, I did paradise fish, albino paradise fish in my tub. They did absolutely excellent. They had a billion little babies, and they took care of their own babies, which was great, even though they're kind of hit or miss on that. You have rufagaras in a cold water tank, Junpai says. Right on. Well, there you go, folks. We've got a confirmation that they do okay. Aquatic News Network, good to see you. Hello. Also on the lamia front, somebody else kind of vouching for them being fun. There's humpback lamia, there's black lamia, there's yellow belly, there's the Jamaican and the Cuban and the Costa Rican. There's all sorts of little lamias. But yes, paradise fish, especially if they're the natural variety and not one of the color morphs, they can withstand all sorts of craziness in temperature. So now this is like absurd, and I'm not vouching for, oh, you guys should get these, because I don't know who can afford these. It's like some of Dan's fish stuff where it's like, not me who's got that kind of money, but someone's got that kind of money. And these Medaka rice fish, it says can go to 64. And honestly, I would probably stick to that if I paid $50 per fish, like this is saying. It's because of this incredible golden lame pattern when being viewed from above. Rice fish technically are designed when being bred to be viewed from above or an oblique angle, like in a pond or in a small, shallow dish or bowl on like your table. But yeah, these are very incredible. Amber lame, they're very neat. But there are a lot out there that are also cool and that you can try out. So this, just to show you what a true tropical fish parameter would generally look like. If you see 22 to 27 Celsius, or rather, in American units, 72 to 80 Fahrenheit, this is when you're like, okay, that's solid a tropical fish. That's a fish that's not going to do well if I put it into cooler water. I'm curious what tiger barbs are, what's being said about them. This is a perfect example of where 68 is given as the temp. I've had those arrive at 55 degrees in the mail, and some of the Pethia species and the puntigrus. I don't know. How do you say that? Puntigrus genus here. Some of the barbs can withstand absolutely mind-boggling cold temperatures and come back from it totally fine. Especially like the snakeskin ones and stuff. All the ones from northern India, the ones that are from the Himalayan foothills, they're absolute troopers when it comes to cold temperatures. Now, Pandagara, these are probably the most tropical garas that I know of. And it says that they can withstand 71. Now, I've seen them in tanks in the high 60s and still very colorful and doing fine. But you're going to want the Rufagara, the doctor fish, something like that if you really want cold tolerant. And then as we go on, fish that you may not, always expect, any of the bitterlings, pretty much. If you see the word bitterling or tooth carp, there's like a 80% chance that fish can withstand cool temperature. And here it says down to 59 or 15 Celsius. I mean, it's probably more like 55. They're trying to tell you these are temperatures of where they can be kept and be happy. Now, granted, if you give them all the right food, all the right things, and you ease them into a temperature, and it's like seasonal where they're cold for a month or two, colder by 5 or 10 degrees, that is very natural. That is what happens. And, they'll do just fine. Some of these, like the thick lip gourami, this one is from Lake Inle specifically. And it's more tropical. But when you get into the paradise fish and stuff, you'll see, watch, if we can find one here. Instead of 72, you'll see it bump up. But for the most part, rasboras all need warmer temperatures. Most live bears need warmer temperatures. The croaking gourami is one that I just want to double check because I'm not sure. 70, yeah, so it's a true tropical. Also, some of the baddest exist out there, as well as some of these catfish and things. See, if these live at the bottom of the river, like the Amaputra River or something like that, you would wonder, well, then how cold can they take it? And this says only 70, but I'd be curious on some of these catfish if they could go colder than is actually listed. It's something to check out. Also, where these are pretty cool, just speaking of cool fish, these are those newer blackberry silver dollars. They've got a deep bluish purple to black mark on them that looks like a smudge of color with the red to orange fin. I know Melissa Skinner, she needs to get some of those in with her tanks for sure. Boy, that is a beautiful rainbow fish right there too. Lake Curumio, so pretty. So this one, let's see, this is very similar to a Radnocentris or Nautis. So I'm just kind of curious. No, only, it looks like only 68 to 86. Although 72 to 82 is optimal. So that's kind of interesting that it gives you two ranges there. It's kind of being more realistic. So again, rice fish. These rice fish, I would not be surprised if these can withstand being under ice for a period of time. They can do surprisingly well, even with fancier lines. It's pretty wild. Same here with these rice fish. These Kororome, I don't know how to say it. Kororome, top ramen. So let's look at this Pethia. So a lot of these Pethias can live in cooler temps. 68, so not super cool. But like I said, some of those Pethia, some of the barbs can withstand a lot cooler temperatures than what you would expect. Also, let's just take a look at cherry barbs. I've seen people use these in their tubs. Yeah, so it's only claiming that they're good to 72. But again, I've seen people with those in their tubs, and this is just an awesome fish. These fish, anyways, not for fish in the tub, but these fish have these incredible fins, and they get red, and then that black line gets the blue on it, but they get red on their tail and black on their body, and red on their dorsal fin, and they almost look like a megalodon, the way they've got this big old jaw on there that kind of opens wide. uh they look like a mini megalodon, and then they'll have bigger fins a lot of times that they show off and compete for the affection of the females with. Why, of course. The golden barb, I gotta check this because I know, like I said, some Pethia are definitely much more happy in moderate, 65 degrees. So that's not like cold water, but definitely a lot of people can maintain their house at 65. Um, of course, more rice fish, golden wonder killies. Let's see what it's recommending for their temperature. I bet their temperature is still pretty high. Yeah, 72. Okay. Just wanted to double check for you guys. But the Kaifit Danio, I know they, from my experience, I have some of them right now. These can also do pretty good all the way down to 60. I've kept them in like 58, 60-degree water for extended periods of time outside. Same with zebra danios. I've kept those doing real well outside in my tubs all summer, 5, 6 months in Seattle, which is a pretty long time. Same with glow light danios. These guys, it may not say it, but they're from the north of Thailand. Yeah, 61. There you go. So again, 60 degrees, that's pretty cool compared to what you'd expect from tropical fish. Rosy loach, these ones might be able to withstand some cooler temperature just because I know, they're still kind of Um, I love them though. But anyways, use the code FISHTERY15 if you are going to buy anything off here, and you get 15% off. And that's so wow, here's a good deal, guys. Look at these longfin golden zebra danios. So we were just talking about these. These are golden, so they're not the albino, they're the golden, the really cool ones. Um, they were $14.99 and now they're $6.99, which is cool because there's 3 in a pack. So you can get these gold Danios for $6.99 for 3. So that's $7 plus you get 15% off. So let's take away another dollar. So that's really like $5.99. So you're paying like $6 because you get this discount plus my discount. So you really do get a good deal when you do that on here with this. Now, guppies, the more fancy ones, aren't going to be able to withstand the colder temperatures. But some are tougher than others. It's worth checking into if you're getting guppies, what they're able to tolerate. CPDs 68 is said to be their lower range. I've seen that several places, but I also know that you can go a bit colder, but they do not honestly seem to really do well or thrive in cooler temperatures than that. Now, there's mountain minnows. These guys, lovely. You can get the golden variety. You can get 3 of them for $8.99 with the silver flecks on their side and the white tips. These, as well as the white cloud mountain minnow, it's more traditional coloration and everything. You can get those, and I think these will withstand down very cold, but let's see if it tells us anything special here on them. 57. I would say all the way down to like 50 is closer to what they can tolerate. And again, here we go. High fin banded shark or shark loach. Look at these things. They're like big old puppy dogs. Very, very odd looking fish. But again, very cool. nonetheless. And I want to just check on how big they get, because $8.99 down from $30, you guys. Are you kidding me? Then you get another 15% off with my discount, guys. Go get these. If you wanted these, there's not going to be a better time than now. Get it get it figured out now if you want these, because that's a crazy deal. I might need to grab a couple. So 59 to 80 is said to be okay. I've seen these in ponds all over the place. I've seen the ponds out in all different climate of weather. I've seen them in like Chicago, out at the park in a koi pond. But they do get big. Adults get 36 inches or 90 centimeters. That's 3 feet long, folks. A meter long. They can get real big, but they are super cool. And don't worry, you won't raise them that long. Just kidding, guys. Asian stone or anchor catfish. The price on these has gone up a bit. That's interesting. They're trying to keep their prices. Yeah, so 64. These guys can withstand a little cooler temps too. So can your emerald dwarf rasboras. They can take a little cooler dips every now and then. Go skinny dipping. Another one, this red shiner, absolutely top notch for 3 of them for $39.99. They get these cool tubercles on their forehead that are like these little bumps of like bone or like little osteophyte horns, and they're just wild. Like some of them, when they're not colored up, they seem somewhat less remarkable, clearly. But then they color up and ooh, beautiful. And these can live really happily with like daces, with shiners, stuff like that. Also, these, I want to know if they have the right info on these, because they say 72 on the lower end. Actually, there's collection points with as low as 68 degrees for the cories, and that's at surface temperature. And think the bottom of a river that's just like raging in the jungle. It's going to still be cold when you go to the bottom 20, 30 feet down versus the top water. So I think there's a good chance panda cories probably go down to like 60 to 65. We know for a fact that not the pandas, but the Aeneas cories were they were spotted by was it that way? Let me get this fact right. Darwin noticed that people were keeping fish in little, vase bowl things, and I'm trying to remember which species it was for sure, but he pointed out and named one of the first species of cories down in Buenos Aires. Again, rainbow shiners. Look at these. These are a U.S. native fish. Incredible. Who wants to be a millionaire? No. Who wants a rainbow shiner? Everyone. These were so expensive and hard to find for a while. Now they're all over, and they are beautiful. Even when they're not spawning, they're still really interesting, dynamic fish, and they would go great with like that other one that we were just looking at, these guys, the red shiner with the kind of stone roller look. And for that matter, you could get a stone roller fish, or any native fish would do you well. So I just wanted to shout out some of these ideas for native, fish and cooler water fish. Also, invertebrates, your shrimp can withstand more / less. I guess it depends on where you've educated yourself. But in the Neocaradina range, most of these you should be okay with, as long as it's 60 degrees or warmer. They may not breed very well, up until about 68 degrees, but then they will. And with some of them, they may, want it to be cool. So you'll have to kind of do your own research on the shrimp, but there's options there that you can, take your pick and have a nice aquarium, which is always rewarding. Now, the other thing, they've got a lot of crayfish, like thunderbolt crayfish, and let's see, all the Charax species. Yeah, look at all these crazy, like the thunderbolt. I mean, blue moon, cool, very cool. And these guys, what can they withstand? 68. I think they can get a little cooler than that, but another one that can modify. So also, I was gonna say invertebrates. They're also selling springtails and isopods here now. Things come and go. They've sold out of all these for a couple weeks now. They're breeding more in-house of a bunch of them. So if you've been waiting, please be patient. All right, you guys. So I think you guys get the point of what's going around Funky Town there. And I think I taught a putty tat. I think we'll do the drawing in a moment here. Everybody get your favorite crayon. We're gonna draw. We're gonna draw. Sorry if the speed of everything is lagging down, and also I'm trying to look at the what's going on the screen for doing this drawing. All right, let's see here. So we'll go to StreamYard, or wait, no, random number generator is what we want. Random number generator. Okay. Wait. Where's Google? I just want Google to do it. Google will probably be like, whatever gets you into my online store is your random number. Is this it? Okay, here we go. All right, guys. So there's 80 of us in here, and we're going to give away a $50 gift certificate. If you're not in the US, I apologize. And depending on what's up, maybe we can figure something out. Maybe I can send you something. I can send you $50 or something. I don't know. Let me know if you're not in the US. But if you're not in the US and you know for a fact, like, oh, I'm friends with Bob T. Fishman over there in Nebraska, give him it for me. Then you can do that. We'll allow that. So the way we do this is I pick a group of random numbers somewhere around how many people are in chat. Now, according to my calculations, the number on the screen, that looks to be about 85 people. So maybe 100 will be the number we'll pick. And we will say whoever, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the word start in all caps. Once I press start and you see it in the chat, then you need to pick a number between 0 and 100 and just type it in. Whatever number you say first is your final number, your first and final number. And once you've said a number, do not say another number to just mess with people or anything, unless you see that number has been taken and you didn't notice already yet. If you notice that your number, that somebody else said the number you wanted to say, then you can say it again, and we will assess what happened there and decide the winner. But I like this one and this way of selecting, and whoever guesses the closest number out of 100. So we're gonna go, 0 to 100, and we got 90 people in here. I see at the moment. Whoever gets it closest without going over wins. So if you said, if I said the secret number is 50 and I typed that in, when it generates or when it generates a number, if it said the secret number is 50 and somebody had guessed 49 and somebody had guessed 51, who's the winner? The 49. Okay, I think you guys get it. All right, so don't enter any numbers yet. I'm gonna say Alex says pick a number between 0 and 100. I could just say 1 and 100, whatever. Let's do that. Sometimes 0 throws these things off. Between 1 and 100. Starting now. All right. Alex says pick a number between 1 and 100 starting now. So guys, get those guesses in. We got 94 people in here. It's funny how the number always goes up when we're doing a drawing. The second we do it, how do folks know? But let's let these numbers roll in for a moment, and then we will select a winner. Now, I want to thank Aquatic Arts. You guys, if you haven't checked them out, they're somebody that I have worked with for a long time. They're working on breeding and spawning things in-house, from crabs to isopods to colorful springtails to terrestrial isopods, aquatic isopods, to live cultures of fish foods and things. One of the places where I differ from Father Fish is, I think I like to culture things outside of the main tank if I can. And then other than maybe Daphnia, ostracods, blackworms, and small Neocaradina shrimp, I pretty much will let those things reproduce in a tank, like the tank here. But the fish will wipe out most of them, and you won't see them much for a little while. But that is, I think, a fine way to do it. So anyways, let's get our last numbers in. We got 91 folks in here. If you want to win this $50 gift card, you're in the US, you're over, I don't know, what does it have to be? 13 years of age. If you're not, just say you're your parents. But all right, I think we're gonna wrap it up, pack it up. Let me begin. No need to battle me. Wait, no need to. I can't even remember the first few lines of that song. You guys know that's when I'm losing my mind. All right, so we got everyone feeling pretty good here. I'm gonna hit stop. All right, so everybody's got a number, and let's randomly number generate. Now let me get out of this. Sorry guys, I was like, what is going on? Okay. All right, so now let me pull up here and share screen for the random number generator. Random num gem raider. All right, guys. We're all here. We're all waiting to see what happens. We're on bated breath. Fish family Link. Haven't seen you in a while, Mr. Bot. The other thing I was gonna say: beware anytime someone says, "Oh, these people in the comments are just chatbots," people who think everything is chatbots, there is a certain element of truth to that. But most of the time, chatbots, they're like scrubbing things, and like a spider, they're getting all the data they can from places. They're finding out little details, and then they're reporting back, and then deleting what they've been up to or something along those lines. But when you've got someone in your camp that says, oh, they have hired professionals or actors or bots or whatever set up to make them more appealing or make them look busy, that's, for me, it always becomes a red flag, because very rarely are there actually ever a crowd of people following you. Go figure. People are just too busy. All right. So we said stop, and let's pull out the dual. Can we do that? How do I do that? Oh, I made it worse. I made it worse. Oh, here we go. All right. All right. So we've got the random number generator, and we've got that. We can generate, I think, yep, we're gonna generate. We're gonna generate. We're gonna spontaneously generate 50. 50. Who had a fifth D? 50. 50. 47, I see B Wood. Let's see here. 47, Lowell also had anything close, like 48, 49. Let's see. I'm not seeing it. You guys are going to need to help me. E. Let's see here. 56. Oh, that's too high. 47 is looking like it might be. I'm not seeing any 49 or anything like that. Are you guys seeing any? 48, JP Jeffries, I'm seeing. That might be it. 48, where are we at? Where else are we at? Anything closer? Now I'm looking through. 48, JP Jeffries, looks like it. JP wins, I think. Yeah, JP, congrats. So thanks, man. And he guessed it before I said stop too, so we're good. So JP, you're in the US? Yes. Let me know. And yeah, if he doesn't live on planet Earth, then that's a problem. But Alexander J. Williamson at gmail.com. So JP, hit me up on my email, and we'll get you the $50 gift card to Aquatic Arts, as long as you like it. You're in Indiana? Oh, yes. And the crazy thing about Aquatic Arts being in Indiana, the crazy thing about that is that is where Aquatic Arts is. So you are probably able, if you want, to even pick up and save a whole bunch of shipping if you want to use that gift card in that way. But message me at my email. That's Alexander J. Williamson at gmail.com. I know it's a long thing. It's my whole name. And let me know if JP Jeffries is the name you use or whatever, but let me know emailing address I should send the gift card to, and or your name on YouTube, the JP Jeffries part, and your whatever your legal name would be, and then I will pass that forward to Aquatic Arts, and they will send you a gift card ASAP. So, all right, you guys. Well, yeah, that's probably the end of me tonight. I am getting a little worn out. My eyes are definitely getting worn out. Like I said, when I get all these rashes and stuff, when I start trying to read fine print and stuff, I get very like, eh. Can I do a plant ID? Mike, of course I can do a plant ID. But I would say that the plant ID would be, I mean, you can go to our Discord, you can go to YouTube and leave it in the comments if you got a link to like wherever it's hosted a photo. But I'm guessing that's not happening. I'm guessing you want either a Discord or Facebook group. If you want, you can do that, or you can just send it to my email. I'll do my best on my own, and I'll let you know what I think. But yeah, that's the best way to go about that at this time. You guys, thank you so much. I truly appreciate all y'all's support, all y'all hanging out with me tonight, and hopefully I'll see you soon. I'll see you soon, raccoons. I'll see you guys soon. I hope that your summer tubbing is coming along. I mean, look at all those options you have. We didn't even get into like how many plants there are now. There's like the mosaic plant, the Ludwigia mosaica. There's just like the beautiful, awesome floating plant. Limnophilia aromatica. There's the Bacopa monieri. There's Limnophilia sessiflora. There's all of these lovely plants that have a lot of like kind of herby vibes when you grow them outside, and you'll never know in your aquarium like the beauty that is those plants if you don't grow them out immersed where they can get some light and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. But yeah. All right, you guys. Well, have a good night. Talk amongst yourselves. And she was an American girl raised off of promises. That was bad. That was flat. She couldn't help but think that there was a little more life somewhere else. Man, my voice is just shot. After all, it was a great big world with lots of places to run to. Yeah, did she have to wait? Hey, that's enough out of the peanut gallery. I have a cat that is sassy enough. I don't need a wife telling me that I don't sound as good as a guy who hasn't been alive for several years. He can still sing better than me. All right, you guys. Gigi, good night. Mr. Pibb. It's the Mr. Pibb's fault. It's not Dr. Pepper. It's Mr. Pibb. It's an imposter. But much support is owed to y'all. Thank you guys. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the duper chats. Thank you for the chats, the chit chats, and thank you for the lurkers, guys, members, new members, old members, body members, dismembers. All of y'all are appreciated and welcome here in the community. So let's talk about it on the Discord. Let me know what video you'd like to see here or talk about next if you guys got something for me. Other than that, yeah, Lucas Bretz is streaming LRB Aquatics. LRB Aquatics. And speaking of tubbing, he's a dude who just digs like 6 foot deep funeral plots in his dirt in Florida, lets the rain fill him up, and he's like, I got a new pond. It's pretty epic. He's got, I don't know, 28, 30 acres, something like that. A lot of room to dig a lot of tubs and stuff like that. So yeah, go ahead and check him out if you'd like. We can say, if you want to go over there, you can say hashtag. We can invade him like a group of invaders coming from Invaderstan. Let's say let's go with room temp fishery. So if you guys want to make a show of force that we can all roll into Lucas Brett's chat together in a moment here, over on lrbaquatics.com, or actually on YouTube, not on lrbaquatics.com. Sorry, he just says that. I get stuck in my head. Hashtag no. Yeah, do whatever you want. You don't have to go. But if you want to go, feel free. And feel free not to say a hashtag. Feel free to do nothing. It's all, do whatever you want. I can't force you. I can't make you. All right, you guys, have a wonderful night. I'll talk to you Tuesday at the next live stream. You guys, it's always on Tuesday. I'll probably be doing it within my tanks again. He's probably going to be back, and whether you like it or not, and I think most of you did. So open up and say yum. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.